Hi, everybody. Welcome to our unit on women's rights and history. I'm sad that we won't be spending our time together learning in the classroom, but I'm looking forward to teaching and learning in this new experience online. I'd like to start by just asking that if there's an introductory video for the lesson, that you watch it before we have our scheduled Google Meet session on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. If you have any questions based on the video, bring them to the Google Meet session, or you can respond in a discussion after the video, and we can talk about them there. So I have a presentation for you to follow for some formatting of our unit. All right, so the format of the lessons, you will have the entire week to complete all components of the lesson. Each lesson is going to be due Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And you are going to be graded on participation and completion of your lessons. So if you participate and do everything that you're asked to do, then you'll pass. And I ask that you follow the flow of the lesson. The way that the sources are presented are in order. And I think I enabled a checklist format so that you have to do each task in order. If you need to contact me, this is my personal Gmail. I have access to my phone almost always, so I can get back to you right away. If we need to talk more in person, face-to-face, we can schedule a session on Google Meet through Gmail. So let's get to our unit. Ideas about women's rights. So we have this idea when we think about women's rights in history that it was all about voting, but it's so much more than that. And I found this excerpt that I really liked about ideas, policies, and the continuous fight for a woman to be considered an individual in her own right, defined by her own terms, by her own intellect and accomplishments, and that in every aspect of her life, she is afforded the same opportunities as her male peers. So we're going to be examining different movements, figures, and policies that have to do with allowing women to be individuals in their own right. And we are going to be looking at women's rights from the end of the American Revolution to present day. Some privileges that we will examine that women have fought for in the past. The recognition of women as legal and political entities separate of their fathers or husbands, and the rights to own property in their own name. That's going to be a common theme that we see in very early women's rights. The right to secure an education, to vote and hold office, to enter the workforce, to plan their families and control their reproductive lives, and a rethinking of gender roles. We have this idea that women, that still persists today, that women belong in the house, in the kitchen, taking care of the kids. And we will see throughout this unit that there were many women who fought to actively change that way of thinking. For your final project, you will be completing an annotated timeline. Your timeline will include 8 sources. You will have an annotation for each source. They will be presented, obviously, in chronological order. Your timeline markers can be a person, a policy, an event, the start of a movement, any significant part of women's rights history that we learn about in our unit, you can place on your timeline. If you choose to use a source or a marker that we didn't talk about in the unit, that's fine also, as long as within your annotation, you make it clear why your source is significant to women's rights. One of your sources must be a figure, a person, and within your annotation, you need to include a short biography that shows how the figure was significant to women's rights. You can present this project in the form of your own choosing, so you can write a paper, a PowerPoint, Google Slides. You can create a movie on iMovie, a graphic organizer, any way that you would like to present your timeline. You have the whole week of May 11th to work on this project, and it will be due that Friday, May 15th. I might extend that actually. My last day with you is technically May 16th, but I will still like be around for a few days to give you grading and feedback. So stay tuned about that official due date, but it will either be the 15th or that Sunday night, which is the 17th. And then just a hint, I would suggest keeping track of sources that seem interesting to you from the lessons and starting to plan your timeline as you go. That way, when we're finished with all of our lessons, you have sources gathered that you might want to use instead of having to go back through all the lessons and pick and choose what sources that you liked. But that's just a suggestion. And then there will be a folder in Schoology with more specifics, like a rubric and a written explanation of your project coming soon. I apologize that I do not have that for you right now. There is a discussion post to follow this video. If you could just please post confirmation that you watched my video and any questions that you might have about our learning, any concerns, any comments, any suggestions, anything that you want to write that is appropriate. And I will try to get back to you in the chat. And if not, then I will see you all on Tuesday at 10 a.m. for our Google Meet session. Thank you.